Give it about 10 seconds, then give an intro.
Got it. Yeah, I can't see you, Gray. Are you going to do an intro? I take it not. I hope this is actually going out live. And, see, we're having a few little technical glitches, largely due to the fact that Mr. Howlett is up in the frozen north somewhere, and I'm not. But anyway, welcome to Wales versus England, as it's been billed up here, or if you prefer, England versus Wales. Mr. Howlett will be back very shortly. I think he's just trying to get over the shock of having accidentally tuned in to watch Emmerdale instead of this match. And as I probably correctly pointed out, the only time you'd ever watch Emmerdale rather than the football is if Scotland were playing. So the game has in fact started, and we're 3 minutes in. And I suspect you're all watching it, but you've not missed much. England with a fair bit of possession, and Wales a little bit sitting back. A number of changes to the team, and I better run through the team, shall I? Yeah, that'll keep us going for a while. For the Welsh, and I'm running through the teams now because I've got a better than average chance of being able to pronounce the names. Anyway, for the Welsh, in goal, replacing Hennessy, who is serving his suspension after that sending off the other day. You've got Ward. Then we have Williams, Metham, Rodon, Davis, Ampadu, Allen, Bale, Ramsey, James, and Moore. And for the three Lions, England, we have Pickford in goal, Walker, Stones, Maguire, Shaw, Henderson, Rice, Bellingham, Foden, Kane, and Rashford. On the bench for England, Grealish, Sterling, Trippier, Pope, Phillips, Dyer, Cody, Saka, Alexander-Arnold, two for the price of one there, Mount, Ramsdale, Wilson, Maddison, and Gallagher. Today's referee is a chap called Slavko Vincic. So there you go. You've had the teams. Still not much happening. Game largely played sort of in the first 10, 15, 20 yards maybe of the Welsh half. Welsh have settled down. Looks like yeah, a back four they got there as England give the ball away, but Rice wins it back, and England can say go again. We've not really gone yet, and yet again Rice gets his foot in, but referee's given a free kick there for, well, you're probably watching it. You tell me. That didn't look like anything much. So yeah. Anyway, please come on and say hello on the stream. If you're really lucky, I'll get up on this tablet thing, which I never seem to get working properly. But yeah. So as I say, we're now, those 2 minutes went quick. 5 minutes and 50 seconds into the game, in case you're trying to keep up with me. And let's say lots of English possession, nothing particularly penetrating at the moment. Although, having said that, it looks a little bit more lively than it did on Sunday when we played America. But we may not be moving it forward, but at least we are moving it from side to side quite quickly. I think it's fair to say. Now, I mean, it wasn't a good game the other day, and that's dreadful there from what that is. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't a very good game against the Americans. I mean, if you have a game where Harry Maguire is man of the match, and I mean, I don't mean this disrespectfully to Maguire, but if there's a game where he's man of the match, you know England haven't been playing particularly well. And Wales' turn to not play very well as they needlessly run the ball into touch. So let's have a look at it now. Yeah, well over. So yeah, let me just try and get this thing up on the screen, and I'll be able to talk to you on here as well. Maybe. Here we go. I can hear myself. Hello, Polaroid. Polaroid's there. I can see that. I was trying to perhaps see if I can get this to turn down. Otherwise, we'll hear myself on echo. We don't really want that. Right, let's just Polaroid's there. Hello, mate. It looks like you and me at the moment. So, but yeah. How do I get this to stop? Pause. Here we go. And I'll get the volume turned down, and then we can do this all properly. Yeah. In case anyone's wondering, Mr. Howlett is around, but he's had to pop out. It's said something about having a shower, but I suppose it is nearly December. But he's been out in the garden all day for some reason. So very, very, very scrappy game at the moment. And not unlike the England-America game on at the weekend so far. Although, as I say, we look as if we do want to move it a bit quicker than the other day, even if we're not actually doing it. I know that makes sense, but I don't know. Just I feel there's a little bit more urgency. But of course, the thing to remember is England don't actually have to do an awful lot. You know, the longer this goes on, England have to be particularly spectacularly bad, I think, to not qualify at this point. And I mean, the Welsh position, well, there's all sorts of permutations. Now, England through here, and that's a good save from Ward. Came out well, and you have to bear with me. I've had to move my usual position today and a little bit further away from the box. But that was an example of you know, where England can actually profit here, is because Wales look a little bit square at the back, and certainly caught out there with a lovely through ball. And if you just move it, just slow, and then suddenly a quick ball through the lines like that, we will catch them out. And yes, I know it's all part of the United Kingdom, but sorry, I'm English, and yeah, I'm not going to cheer the Welsh on. And you know, in the nicest possible sporting way, I hope they go out. Much as I'm sure they would acknowledge that they quite like to beat us by the 4 goals that would be required and knock us out. Now, England on the attacking, Foden puts the ball out to the right. Instead of being crossed, it's pulled back, played into the box, but it's sort of a more hopeful general direction of the box, and Wales can clear. But England just beginning to turn the screw a little bit now, which is nice. So yeah, today you've got me, you've got Graham coming along in a minute. Pinky, we were hoping would join us, and I think we got a message just before we went on air in which the word pub was involved. So I don't suppose we'll be seeing much of him. Maybe he'll join us at half time, but and of course it's a bit of an unusual thing for us. We've managed to get through how many minutes of this so far? Well, the game's 11 minutes old, and we haven't been taken off air by YouTube, which is excellent. We did get an apology from them, from the YouTube police. You know, sort of a nice friendly email. We were monitoring things, and yes, sometimes we get it wrong, and we're really sorry, and we hope everything's okay. Which means that I don't have to do that. as we were silent last week. So, yeah, everything's all right. YouTube love us again. We're not in YouTube jail, and that's where we are. So, as you say, I'm not the greatest with technology, and I've lost everything on my tablet now. So I think the battery's going to go on that later. But when Graham comes in, we'll monitor that a little bit more. And if you're watching on that, I know Polaroid is the last time I looked. And but hi to anybody else who's joined. We will acknowledge you shortly when there are more of us here to do so. I think it's bad enough when there's two of us here. So still, hopefully it's not going to be like that dreadful night away at Eintracht where because I was away on business, I had to go and try and find a pub with a game on and try and do this. And I did the whole match, all of me Todd, from a pub somewhere in St Neots. So I was up there in advance of a conference for the next evening. So I came out that game and had a couple of pints. I was absolutely starving. I hadn't had any tea. And it's not exactly full of places to get late night stuff to eat. That's it. Now, that looks like a handball, and the reason for that is because it actually was. And Shaw tries to play the ball down the line, and they're just showing the chance again. And that's Kane plays it. Nice through ball from Kane there, and through to Rashford. Tried to lift it up over Ward, but Ward didn't go down very quickly. Stayed up and was able to make himself big enough to make the save. So, but that should actually sort of give England a sort of hint. But at the moment, we're now looking at a set piece with Kane and Bale marking each other. Big line. The red wall is on the penalty. Is lined up across the penalty area, the edge of the box. And Shaw's going to take this. Indeed he is. Shaw puts a long ball in, clear to the edge of the box, but Foden's in there, puts a shot in, but it's about a couple of yards wide, I'd say, maybe 3 yards wide. But yeah, we've seen nothing at all from Wales in terms of attacking intent. Now, part of that is because England are keeping possession well. But you'd think they'd want to change that given the position they're in. Or maybe they resent the fact that they're probably going out. I don't know. No further news from the other match at the moment. I believe that's still 0-0. But we'll give you updates from that one as they come through. Yeah. So now I'm guessing, and I'm making an assumption. It's a big assumption that the majority of people watching it at the moment will be cheering England. But if you are of the slightly more Celtic persuasion, then do say hello on the chat thing. Yeah, and Graham and I will do our best to patronise you as English people want to do. So anyway, quick sip of this. Right, well, England now. Foden works the ball into the box, just overruns it a little bit, but regains the ball. Played across now. Well, Dec kept the ball alive. I did wonder if Declan might have been able maybe to spray it out to the left, but I think safety first with that one. And we're now back with England, and everybody's ahead of the player who's on the ball, which on this occasion is Maguire and now Stones. I suspect that, I was going to say the possession stats must be pretty staggering, and right on cue, the broadcaster puts them up for me. Something like 72% for England, and Kane's just been tripped down as Metham. By Metham, he's just gone through the back of Kane there. Methven realises that was not a wise challenge and challenges. Puts his hand up to apologise to Kane and jogs back, feeling a little bit dim, I think. Realises that was a staff challenge to make. You can tell by looking at his face. So we've got free kicks left of centre, maybe about 25 yards out at an angle. The referee's doing his stuff with a silly foam. There's a brains trust there of Rice, Henderson, Foden and Shaw are all stood around the ball. And it's nice Henderson's getting involved, isn't it? I mean, bless him. And now Henderson's passing on the message to Stones is having a word. Somebody else is having a word with Stones, and they're all sort of trying to put Stones and people on the end of the wall. Now they're focusing there on Declan as if he's going to actually take the free kick. Now Foden and Henderson are stood right in front of the ball, and you've got Rice and Shaw are stood sort of behind it as if they're going to take it. So one would rather hope that Henderson and Foden would get out of the way. So little free kick, and right, it's a goal kick in the end, but it was taken short between the three of them. Eventually, Shaw puts an angle cross in, and Maguire gets up. It claims that it got a little knock off the Welsh defender, which indeed it did, but difficult for the referee to see, and that's gone for a goal kick. Nice you to join us, mate.
How you doing? You good?
Yeah, all right. I think. I don't know if anyone's
I haven't missed much then.
No. England, lots of possession. Wales, really, if you're watching the game now, this is about as far forward as Wales have got all game in the 18 minutes and 47 seconds we got. I'd say it's been all England, which kind of makes it sound like Wales have been under the cosh, but it's been all England possession. Wales have shown no attacking intent whatsoever, really, which, as I said before you came back on, you kind of expect a little bit more from them, given what they need to do. So, anyway,
do we not? Yeah, it's great. It was all right. I've actually been watching the game on a screen about that big for the last 10 minutes. So, I've been listening to what's going on. I can't say I've actually seen an awful lot of what's going on, but I did hear that the keeper made a very good save. From Rashford when he was put through by Kane a few minutes ago.
And Ward came out, made himself big. But
he's done well this year, hasn't he? Bearing in mind that not a lot was expected of him when Schmeichel left. He's had a good season, but decent save. Have you said hello to our streamers, our fellow streamers yet? Have we done that?
I knew was there before. I accidentally pressed something wrong on my tablet here, and being that doing one thing at a time is sometimes 50% too much for my brain. I said we'd acknowledge people properly when there were two of us to do so. So,
well, in that case, I shall.
It was the first one on.
Yeah, it's very quiet out there tonight. But we should say like Polaroid, Glenn, Mish, and whoever else is watching us anonymously on the street. One of those. England have got a free kick by the looks of it. But what do you make of this England team? You pleased to see Foden out there tonight?
I am, yeah. Very much so. I mean, I think if he'd been out there on against the Americans, it would have shown more attacking intent, wouldn't we? And I mean, in the end, it was slightly baffling that he didn't come on. When he started making changes after it was about 66, 67 minutes. I'll break off here because England was a promising attack, but it seems to have slowed down a bit. We still got the ball on the right wing, and Kyle Walker's come in on the right-hand side. Trippier's on the bench this evening. That's one of the changes. Well played, Rice. Looked as if he overcooked it, but kept the ball in, kept the ball running, and Nice cross from
That's
Shaw
nice.
and
Whoa, 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 whoa. Bounced
oh,
over his head.
Henderson. Yeah, didn't judge that at all. Went over his head. Still live though. Declan trying to fashion a bit of room. Plays in
Nice.
Henderson all across the
Offside,
middle,
was
but
he?
put out for a throw in.
Hmm. Yeah, Declan seems to have started quite lively tonight, by all accounts.
Yeah. I mean, there's this talk I mean, as Pinky was saying, Henderson was brought on to give him a bit more latitude to move forward. But such has been the lack of Welsh ambition so far. I mean, we had that thing there where Henderson was further forward than Declan was, didn't get the cross. But another free kick to England here as Henderson basically turns and just gets bundled into. So free kick right out by the touchline. And well, quarter of the way through the game already, 22 and a half minutes gone.
Good Lord.
So,
Good Lord.
so,
Are you nervous at all about tonight? Or are you quite confident that England are going to see this through consummate ease?
I think I mentioned earlier on, in my opinion, I think England would have to go some to not qualify. Cross comes in and
what a chance.
over the top of Harry Maguire. Good cross though, but Rashford keeps it alive. Gets a shot in, but it's it poleaxes. That's Williams, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, basically hits Williams firmly on the box, and it just collapses like a sack of spuds there. Understandably so, because I suspect that shot was travelling from Rashford there.
It didn't look like it hit him in the face, did it? It looked like he put his head down.
Yeah. It's time to resurrect that. Anyway. Funny enough, I read it the other day again. About the old Scottish manager John Lammy. The player got concussed, and the story goes. He says the physio comes over. He's concussed, boss. He doesn't know who he is, and he says, "Oh well, good. Tell him he's Pele and send him back on."
There's that save again.
Yeah. Good, very good save.
I mean, he's come out well, but
yeah. You think Rashford had other options than that one, perhaps, and but yeah, it's a good save. But I think Rashford is possibly rerunning it and thinking, what might I have done differently there? And,
well, this will be our excuse for the now customary 10-minute added on. 10 minutes added on at the end of each half.
It will, yeah. So,
have we got any news from the other game, by the way?
I haven't seen it yet. I was waiting for you to come back so I can, while I'm doing this, you can hold the fort. Okay. Here we go. That one. Oh, come on. Right. So.
Was he in rush?
Yes. Let me just.
What have we got? What have we got from the video printer? Anything happening over there?
I'm just trying to get. I've got this newish tablet, and I'm still getting the grips with it. So, I had it there.
Come on, boys. If anyone knows the score, let us know.
There we go. Right, it's
Get there quicker.
0-0. After all that, it inevitably after all that it was 0-0. Sorry about that. As I say, this newish tablet is still getting the grips with that one. So,
thank you, Glenn. By the way, Glenn popped up a few moments ago to tell us it was 0-0.
Oh right, okay. But, I was reading some stuff earlier on today from our old friend Jeremy Nicholas, who was saying, "Oh, it could." He went to see a production of A Christmas Carol today, and he was saying this could have been a schoolboy error, managing to go and book that on the day Wales were playing England, and. But then when you sort of scroll below the line, he sort of pointed out that he was going to see a matinee performance and he'd still get home in time for the game. But I did wonder if the ghost of Christmas yet to come had the result. That was all, but apparently not.
It was his birthday the other day, I think, wasn't it? I remember.
Yeah, it's in November usually. Yeah.
I seem to have read it on Facebook somewhere.
Yeah. So, yeah, but yeah, go on, Jeb. I haven't seen him in a while. The last time I saw him, he did a preview of his one man sort of it's not exactly a sort of stand up comedy thing. It's but it was anecdotes from his time, his career as a broadcaster, including lots of Brian Clough anecdotes, and it was a really good evening as well. And I'm not just saying that because he refused to let
after
me
free tickets again.
Yeah, he refused to let me pay it again. So I did buy him a large gin and tonic though. So I think I felt better about that. I gave it a good write up as well on the site, as I recall. So, but it was worth seeing. I think he did. I think he took it up to Edinburgh, didn't he? The Fringe up there. So, but yeah, come on, Jeb. Do another one. You must have some more stories by now. Yeah. England now try to break quickly. Kane, two players got caught in possession there. One was a foul, but the referee played on. Kane got caught in possession. Or was it Henderson? Henderson, who then gives away the foul needlessly. And it's all There was a little spell there, that few seconds. Henderson's just gone clattering into the back of Williams again. Yeah. Kane just got caught in possession. That wasn't a foul, but the earlier one was. But the referee rightly said play on because we have possession. So just come up nil. 28 minutes gone. England comfortably the better side, but that's not saying much. And it's very much a sort of stop-start bitty sort of game as well. Lots of silly little fouls as James takes out Stones there. I think, James been given a yellow for his troubles there.
Is that the first booking of the night? I think it is, isn't it?
I believe it is. Yeah, I don't think that we've had another one. We've not had another one earlier on. It was late.
Yeah.
It was a sort of stamp on the top of the foot. And I think invariably you get that on the top of the foot one. That's going to produce the yellow. It seems to be the going rate at the moment. Yeah, stamp on foot, yellow card. So,
can't have many arguments about that one.
Yeah.
Well, there we are. Half hour gone. Not much happening at all, really, which I suppose will suit England more than Wales. But I kind of get the feeling Wales are going to look to try and nick this one and hope there's a draw in the other game.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they're certainly not going to do it in terms of goal difference. I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to get the mythical 4 goals. The 4 goal win that they need. 4 goal margin. It's as it stands. It does look like they're playing for that, doesn't it? It's let's see. Yeah. Let's keep it tight and hope we can nick it. Fingers crossed for the other game.
Seems eerily familiar, that tactic. I'm trying to recall exactly where I might have seen that before, but I wouldn't say that's.
Foden does well, gets the ball back, but still trying to sort of work some space in the box.
Go on, Deckers.
Foden out on the right-hand side again, but I think they're a decent-sized bunch at the back, and it looks like when we get the ball out wide, players are marked sort of man-to-man quite closely. As
what was that? What was that? Was that
how are we going to describe that? Harry Maguire went on a rampaging run, slightly diagonally across, down, got into the box, and then from the left-hand side of the box,
what is he doing?
Just hit it as hard as he could and found touch on it.
What is he doing? What is that? A cross or a shot? Or he kind of looks up before he lets one go. So it's not as if he didn't know where he was. But
it's kind of hoping somebody might get on the end of it. But
someone in row Z?
Yeah, having
It's
said he was
jeepers
man in the
creepers.
match against the Americans, I think we've got a return to the norm. I think.
Do you know what? Actually, to his credit, he's probably been England's best player in this tournament so far. Had an okay game in the first game. Brilliant
Yeah, the
against
first
America.
game. I mean, I'm a bit loath to give him man of the match for the first game. Against we let in 2 to an Iranian team we probably shouldn't have done. So, but certainly the American game, he was on the end of everything. Basically, he was the old slab head was a ball magnet, and I mentioned this earlier on as well. I mean, and I don't. And I know everyone does take the mick out of him. And I don't mean this in a slightly disrespectful way to him, but the fact that Harry Maguire was man of the match against the Americans probably tells you a lot more about the England performance overall than it does about Harry Maguire's. But it's
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. I mean, we didn't create anything, did we? But I think to his credit, even if we'd have nicked it, he probably would have been in the run in that game. But no, I like that. I'm pleased for him because he's taken an awful lot of stick lately, and it can't be nice. I mean, we do forget sometimes that these lads are just human beings, and it must be very difficult when the whole world is against you, or at least it might seem that way at times. So I'm pleased for him. Glad to see he's done well. That's a decent crossing. No one on the end of it. Is that your mate Henderson again bunging that in?
Again, it's that West Ham thing, getting the crosses in, they just come straight back out. When I did a look through the reaction on when was it? Sunday night, wasn't it? Monday night, wasn't it? The American game. No, it was Friday. God, what day is it? What day of the week is this? Yeah, yes, it was Friday, wasn't it? That was it. But when I looked at some of the reaction, there was so many people saying, "God, wasn't that just like watching West Ham this season?" And we got a bit of a pause for injury in case anyone's not watching it and is slightly perturbed by the fact that we're just waffling on about nothing in particular. But I think the injury looks like Wales going to have to make a substitution. I think it was Williams was down, but
this is the lad who took one in the mush, wasn't it, a few minutes ago?
Yeah, in fact, it is Williams.
Yeah,
and he's on the front. They're actually sort of like doing the, neurological things. Sort of follow my finger and so it looks like this will be a concussion sub. I think they'll again. It does make you wonder, should he have played on? If there's any sort of doubt at all, then it shouldn't be for the player to say, I'm all right. I mean, clearly the fact that he's got the physio on and assessing him, it should say a lot, sort of thing. Remember years ago, I had spot concussion playing football, playing for civil service, ended up in hospital. And then I was all right, really. I was 100%, but I was all right. But they ask you all sorts of questions. And I think people are getting asked those questions today must have the similar sort of confusion as I did, because remember this time it was literally the week after Margaret Thatcher had resigned and John Major had taken over. Because one of the things they do is they say to you, who's the Prime Minister? And I had to stop myself because it had been Margaret Thatcher for so many years. Of course, nowadays, they ask you who's the Prime Minister and you say, well, what day is it?
Yeah, fair point. Fair point. But is he off now? What's going on here?
It's looking very disconsolate, so I suspect he's been taken off. Yeah, definitely off. So that's Williams. He's been taken off, and he's been replaced by Roberts. So
who is? I'm showing my lack of knowledge about the Welsh squad here, but who is Roberts, and from whence does he?
He's the player who's just come on to replace Williams, and long throw comes.
That's the one.
Long throw comes in. Players go up, players go down, and it's a free kick. So So let's see if I can give you any more information on Roberts.
I'm not quite sure why that free kick was given there. It looks like the two Welsh lads collided
Yeah,
in the box, and one of them came off worse, but strange one. But hello to Metal, by the way, who's joining us on the stream. Good to see you, buddy.
yeah.
Hope you've had a good day.
Yeah.
Not much happening. Not much happening out
I
there.
can't even find
Have we
out
got
much
any Welsh fans actually on the stream? Is anyone here supporting? Are you all
did ask
supporting
him.
England?
I did say if there's anybody,
Let us know.
I suspect most people are supporting England. But I did say if there's anybody declaring for Wales at the moment, please come on. And I said Graham and I'll
Nice.
patronise you like us English are supposed to. Now, good move from England
Nice
here.
is good. Good football. Oh,
Some lovely football there. Some
Really?
nice little passing. Bit of one-touch passing. Lovely little flick from Bellingham. Lovely little flick into Bellingham. Another little flick back to Foden, who tries to turn it into the top corner, around the corner, but doesn't quite get a curl on it. It's a long way high and a little bit wide, but that's good football.
it's also one of those where there's a better ball on if he just lays it to his left. If he looks up, I'm not sure who it was who's sitting on the side of the penalty box there, but he's got clear shot of goal if he just lays it off. But anyway, best move of the game so far. Probably England's best move of the tournament so far, actually. So.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. Now Wales try and get on the attack, but snuffled out. But the clearing ball isn't that good. Now, what can Wales do here? Trying to work it to the edge of the box, and I think that's Allen comes in and hits it straight at Declan. Now England are on the attack, and Wales have committed a few people up here, so well, they are getting back quite quickly. Now Rashford on the run, it's gone back to Declan, but Wales will regroup. But if we've been a little bit quicker on that sort of thing, we might have suckered them in and taken them apart. But we still got a ball. Foden plays it into the box, and no. Oh,
what? Oh. He's no Richarlison, is he?
No, cross came from the right into the box. It did get a flick from came off a Welsh defender. Rashford adjusted well.
Come off his shin.
Overhead kick off his shin.
Called it wrong.
And if you ruin it, it comes off his shin and goes in. Rashford, it went wide, but decent attempt. I mean, that goes in. We're all sort of mentioning Brazil in the same breath, aren't we? So.
I was going to mention that I pulled one of those off at training the other night, but I'm sure you've heard that story a few times already in the last few weeks.
Yeah. Okay.
Hit the woodwork. Well, actually, it was the metalwork, not the woodwork. But
yeah,
there you go.
I
think the ground shook when I went down.
I scored a proper game with something like that, but
well, here we go. Big chance.
Oh,
across. Oh,
again, lovely flowing move from England. Came out to Rashford on the left-hand side of the box. It's a good one-touch. Well, Foden rides his luck there. A little bit of a run into Kane. Kane plays Rashford in. Rashford tries to play the ball back into Kane, slightly behind everyone going forward, but it's cut out for an England corner, which Foden will take. Yeah, scored one of those playing for Midland Bank many years ago. And
I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
Yeah, certainly did. But it knackered me back, and I was bruised for weeks after.
Probably knackered the 6-yard box as well.
No, I was a lot littler then.
England have a corner anyway.
Yeah. It didn't. Corner comes across from Foden very deep, and well, we still keep it live. Slightly fortunate there, but that's probably going to go out for a goal kick. I know corner. There's a Welsh. Do
you want to hear the history of this fixture? I can give you a few stats if you like while we're waiting for this corner to happen. England have met Wales. I've got to add this up actually. 104 times prior to tonight. Want to have a guess how many of those 104 England have won?
Hang on a second. Just seen the corner going, but it's been clear. 104, I'd say 57.
That's a pretty good guess. It's pretty good. 68, actually.
Oh, all right, yeah.
68 England wins. 22 draws.
Goal update. Iran 0, USA 1. Latest score. So which I presume is not good news for Wales. I'm guessing.
No.
Yeah, I've sort of left the mathematics out of my head. I'm trying not to think about it, but
I don't think it's actually particularly good for England either if the results were to stay like this, because it means England would face the Netherlands in the last 16 if it stayed like that.
Well, would it?
I think.
As it stands, if
All
it
right.
stood at the moment, we'd both.
Oh, sorry.
have
Did you
5
say?
points.
Oh, USA have scored. Sorry, I've got it the wrong way around.
Yeah.
I'm thinking
We've got a
of
better goal
Iran.
difference than USA
Yeah.
and probably
Yeah.
Iran as well, haven't we? So
Yeah,
whoever
no, I mean,
wins
well,
that-
Iran won, didn't they? They've got 3
Yeah.
points. If they were to win tonight, they would.
Oh, they'd have
England would need to
yeah,
win to stay
yeah,
above them.
true, yeah.
But yeah, sorry, my apologies. I got that the wrong way around. So yeah, it's all good for England as it stands. We'll take that, but we'd like to see a goal or two here. Let's be honest. But anyway, going back to those stats, England won 68 of that out of the 102, 22 draws. Wales have only beaten England 14 times
Yeah,
in international matches, and the last time they did that, way back in 1984, in one of those famous British Home Championship games.
That must have been pretty much the last one or the penultimate one. It sort of died a death shortly after that, didn't it, in the 80s?
Do you want to have a guess who scored the only goal that day? It was 2nd of May 1984 at the Racecourse Ground, where, of course, a lot of those games were held back then. Absolutely spot on. Well done. Well done.
No, I can't claim prior knowledge of that, but because they've been showing it on the BBC a couple of times.
Have they really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, well, in that case, tell me you started at right back for Wales instead that day.
Williams or Jones.
It actually was Joey Jones.
Yeah. It's a fair guess, isn't it? Jones, the right back.
Yeah.
But no, they showed earlier on, apparently it was that was the first squad that Gary Lineker had actually been involved in. And it was, and that was Mark Hughes's debut, I think, as well. So
well, he would have been very young then, wouldn't he? 1984. That would have been right at the start of his career.
Yeah. So England now in the box. Rashford trying to make space. It's out of Bellingham. Bellingham gets out the byline, but it's just cut out there for a corner by the aforementioned Roberts, who's had a busy time of it since he came on. I think he's they're keeping him busy. Corner on England's left, and Foden's across to take it again. Let's see what we can do with this one. And
go on, Philip.
Swung out towards the edge of the box. Get it's cleared, and they're still trying to get rid, and it's played long again. Maguire does well there to keep it live for England. It's a good header, actually, that one. Simple header, but he had someone sniffing around if he missed it, which could have been embarrassing. So England go again. The home international championships. My first international game, I think, was 1970. Aimless balls played in straight down Ward's throat. 1970, England beat Northern Ireland 3-1 at Wembley. We got 5 minutes of stoppage. So probably about right, I'd say.
Was Georgie Best playing that day?
He was, yeah. And he'd been, I remember as a kid, I was 9 years old, and it was, middle of April, and at Wembley, an evening game, and it had been part of my birthday present. So I'd never been to Wembley and all this sort of stuff, you know. And I remember Best had been sent off playing. I don't know who they played the week before. It'd been Scotland or Northern Ireland, presumably. And it was getting booed for some reason, but didn't have much impact on the game, as I recall. But the other thing I remember, it was England's last home international before going to Mexico for the 1970 World Cup. And it was also Bobby Charlton's 100th cap. So quite an evening to be there, sort of thing. And
that Welsh team we were just referring to in 1984, you laughed at the Jones. There was actually one Jones, a James, a Thomas, two Davises. So yeah, you know, I think if you were playing, what's that game on ITV where you have to guess the top five? I think you would have probably got the lot there.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Jones,
anyway,
Jones, Davis, Jones.
It was.
Well,
in fact, you were talking about that game. Since your first England game, 1970, England have only lost to Wales on 3 occasions. 77, lost at home actually in the British Championships. Got beaten 4-1 in May 1980. That would have been Ron Greenwood's era, of course.
Yeah, I remember that one. Listening to it, it was quite a nice day, and we were in the garden. I remember listening to it on the radio. Before you got live games everywhere. Now Kane's made a bit of room for a shot there, and puts his hand up to claim a flick off for the corner, and yeah, it was. So another corner on this left-hand side to England. Not been very invented with the corners so far, and see if Foden's going to take it again. Stones and Maguire are coming up for it. Declan's having a quick word on the edge of the box, but yeah, Foden's there again. Again, played to the far post, and
get up!
Oh, did that come off the Welsh lad, or was that?
I think it was Stones, was it, with a header?
Yeah, Stones got the header in. Wasn't sure if the guy got. Yeah, the guy headed it onto Stones and then clutched his head. It was just going to drop in underneath the bar, but keeper did well there, actually, keep it out, sort of thing. So feet behind the line, but ball well in front. Another Welsh player's gone down, holding his head a bit, but he seems all right. I think he's permanently got that look.
That game we were just talking about, the 1980 fixture. I note that Paul Mariner was in there. Glenn Hoddle must have been one of his first games for England, I'd imagine. Yeah. 1980. But just looking at some of their names, Larry Lloyd playing for England. I don't remember Larry Lloyd playing an awful lot for England. Ray Kennedy, Stevie Coppell, who was my idol actually when I was younger. Him and Trevor Brooking. I used to love watching him play, even though he was a Man U player. But yeah, I mean, you look at that Welsh team. There's no real stars in there. So, I mean, Brian Flynn, I suppose, was I wouldn't say a cultured midfielder, but it was energetic. But that would have been the Welsh kit when we talked before, didn't we, about the Coventry brown kit?
Yeah,
with the blue and the white stripe. That would have been the Welsh equivalent, wouldn't it, when they wore that, the red one with the white and green stripe down the centre. But anyway, Welsh with a throw-in. Can they nick one before half time?
A little bit of that was Alan there again. Yeah, well, ball came to the edge of the box and took it across him, but lack of control in the shot there, I think. But a reminder to England that you need to sort of close players down. I mean, I know we've had oodles of possession, and in fact, that's the half-time whistle there. So that's the last action of the game. Loads of possession for England, looking quite comfortable. Couple of decent chances. Marginal improvement, I think, on the USA performance on Friday night. But that's about it. It's looking comfortable. Wales have shown very, very little. I think they've had 2 shots, but very much sort of 2 very isolated incidences. Just looking at the table now as it stands, England would go through top by virtue of the goal difference over the USA. So that would mean us playing Saturday against Senegal, I think, as it stands. Yep. Oh, I've got something right then.
Glenn Marshall says, I'm not a fan of home internationals. They were terrible. I kind of disagree there. I used to look forward to those as a kid, because I think one of the things was it was one of those, especially in the late 70s, it was one of those rare occasions when you actually got free live football, wasn't it? You know, we
Yeah,
didn't get a
yeah,
lot back then, and they
that's true.
generally tended to be broadcast
Yeah,
live. So
that's true as well. Yeah, I used to love them as a kid, but um, up till about the sort of 70s and the mid 70s, the nations would take it quite seriously. And then as you got into the 80s, you got clubs like Liverpool and Man United. Um, Players would mysteriously get injured when the home internationals come up, and you got they became less of a sort of a proper tournament and more something to experiment on. And yeah, it's a fact for you. The reigning British champions, Northern Ireland.
were
They
they the
won the
last to
last
win it? Were
one.
they really?
Yeah, they were the last winners. I think it was 85, but don't quote me on the year. But
Amazing.
they're definitely the holders of it. But I remember the second one I went to see. We saw England Scotland the year after in '71 at Wembley, and
Yeah.
I didn't know I was going till the night before. A friend of the family used to work at worked for a firm of accountants, and he was the club auditor at West Ham. So he always used to get lots of complimentary tickets here, and late Alec Maguire, and rang us up on the Friday night and said, got tickets for England Scotland, yeah, come along tomorrow. So we drove up. We lived in Grays at the time. Drove up to his place at Chigwell, where Chigwell, somewhere like that way, where 4 doors along was Bobby Moore's house, and we got on the tube. We get the tube up there, and I remember we got down to Liverpool Street. We're changing on the Metropolitan line, and the platform was full of Scots, all drunk and singing sort of thing. And you hear them all going, yeah, Scotland, Scotland. And there was a bit of a pause, and then you heard the tannoy click on, and the bloke in the tannoy just comes out and goes, England. And we got on we changed it. We changed it somewhere. We got on a tube somewhere, and there was, basically, I remember the smell of whiskey, packed tube, and there's this. I was it's Ted at the time, but there's this Scots guy in a kilt, and clearly the worse for wear. And I've got a seat because everyone said, "Oh, we had to sit down." And this guy he was like swaying along, holding up the strap bag, swaying along, and the train wasn't even moving. And I figured that his need for a seat was probably greater than mine. So I said, "Yeah," I said, "Oh, mate," and I said, you're here. And I got patted on the head, and he's got his sporran there. He's reached into his sporran, pulled out his big wad of notes, and I said about 25, 30 quid or something there. Puts it around, good wee lad, which 30 quid in 1971 was one hell of a lot of money, sort of thing. And I mean, it's quite a lot to be given to a kid now, but Dad made me give it back, and I think I ended up with sixpence or something. or 2.5 pence. It just gone decimal.
My overriding memory, talking again of home internationals, but I think my overriding memory of Scottish fans has to be the infamous Wembley performance in '77.
Yeah, that would have
I
been
think it was
75, wouldn't it?
when
4 years
they
later. Yeah.
when they
Odd
came down
numbered
and
years
broke
at
the
Wembley,
posts.
and just yeah, that was just appalling.
The Rotters.
Yeah,
the Rotters. But anyway, 0-0 in Qatar. Half time, England Wales. Not an awful lot to write about. Would this be? You just saw the table as it is right there. England leading with 5 points on goal difference over the USA. Would that be a disappointing result, do you think? I mean, obviously, England would still qualify as group winners, but would you be a little disappointed with that haul from 3 games against Wales, Iran, and the USA?
No, not really. You would be if it was sort of a longer term, that you're playing in a league in general sort of thing. But this is tournament football, and the group stages are all about getting out of the group, doing enough to get out of the group, get your bad games out of the way in the group stages, and still go through. So you do enough to get out of the group, and that's fine by me. We were poor against America, but for all the hand wringing, I think I said, tournament football, we haven't lost. And it's if you're playing like that when it gets to a knockout stages, then you like you. But then it's a knockout stage. The whole setup is different, and you're going to go for a win anyway. So, but no, it doesn't concern me.
What do you have you seen much of the Senegalese so far? Did you see the game today, by the way?
I didn't see the game today. No. Well, I was working from home. So just had the sort of scores flicking up on my computer. But I thought Ecuador looked half decent team. So if Senegalese have actually sort of put one over them, then I mean they're a useful side. I mean, I think the days when we all said, "Oh, it's an African side," we'll have them. That's long gone. But they're just showing that Wales have had 197 touches, and I'd probably say 120 of them, even more, are all in their half. It's just a few dotted.
I was just going to come to that actually, because as confirmed by that map, Wales are yet to have a single touch in England's penalty area, which is astonishing, really, isn't it, for a two-horse race? But another great little stat I wanted to bring you. This is not from this game. This is from the Iran versus USA game. But it's your favourite, of course, our XG stat. Get this: USA, of course, leading by 1-0 at the break. They have an XG of 1.30 for the first half. Iran's XG 0. Might be the first time I've ever seen that. 0.00 from their first half.
My astonishment for XG knows no bounds. But that could be worse. It's when they get minus something or other, then they've got to worry, I suppose. Yeah. But
now, what you and I are missing, actually, coming back to this game, I mean, you might have heard it as the teams walked off at half time, but apparently Chesney Hawkes is singing "I Am the One and Only" live at the half time. Can you think of anybody who's got more longevity out of one song than that? When was that out? What was it? 1990, 91? It was right at the early 90s, wasn't it? Maybe the late 80s. But he's only ever hit record, and here he is over 30 years later, still coining it. That's not even a small gig. We're not talking about the Black Boar up in Streatham High Street that he's playing. This is the World Cup. How's he must have a bloody good agent. That's all I can say.
I did read an interview with him, and of course, like he's still touring and stuff like that. And
is he?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And
with his one song.
Well, he does a whole thing, and then of course, like he'll go off, and he hasn't done that, and everyone's going, and he's one of these people. He said he did come to resent it, that one song, because he usual thing with artists. I'm so much more than that, but
you're not Chesney.
Yeah, he's a hammer. Leave him alone.
He is. Well, that was the point I was going to make. He's a West Ham boy, isn't he? Famous father. Where was his dad?
Chip. Out of the Tremolos.
From the Tremolos, was it?
Yeah.
Silence is golden and all that.
Yeah. So
silence might be golden rather than listening to that for the millionth time. To be fair, but
sorry, I'm going to do the old Britney thing. Leave Chesney alone. But,
another stat for you. A Chesney Hawkes related stat. Chesney Hawkes has spent longer on the pitch at this World Cup than any Italian player. Ooh,
brilliant. Or any Scots player,
yeah. Oh, look, we're seeing now. We're seeing the highlights of the other game. So presumably this is the goal coming up for the USA. Oh, that's a touch.
No, that's not the goal. I just saw the goal before my tablet expired on me. I've got it plugged in now, and I'll get that back for the second half, hopefully. But does look like pretty much all America though from the highlights they're showing. Then they're not showing, and I think you'll find this might be the goal. 38 minutes.
It's around the back. Great ball. Corridor of uncertainty.
Little suspicion perhaps of offside. Pizilic is hurt himself doing that. head
Yeah, he
across.
looked like he got one in the goodies. Let's have another look at that.
Yeah, I think the
Yeah, I think it was a knee, wasn't it? The
keeper's
goalkeeper's knee.
to the near to the orchestras.
Yes. Get on the
There-
cymbals.
there is no worse pain. Women will tell you about childbirth rubbish. There is no worse pain than getting that.
Yeah.
A
You
referee
can
once
say that.
considered-
I couldn't possibly agree.
a referee once considered booking me when that happened to me because I'm down in pain. And of course, when it happens on the pitch, as you well know, if it's not you, everybody else, to everyone else, it's quite funny. And I've been as guilty of that, the old don't rub them, count them sort of thing. And I'm doubled up in agony on the floor, and the ref sort of comes over and and sort of like, looks at me and he says, "Oh, you caught one in the nuts." And I said, "Oh, getting my breath back." Yeah, ref. And he says, "Oh," he said, and he made the usual comment. "All right, nothing that you were going to be using this evening, then." So I looked at him. I said, "Oh, I didn't realise your missus was away." And he looked at me. He did. He looked at me with a sort of a bit of a fierce face, as if he was thinking about booking me. The team we were playing had a load of Aussies on the team. We were all sort of looking around, all of whom collapsed laughing. And at that point, I think he sort of decided, conceded it wasn't a bad response given the inordinate amount of pain I was suffering at the time. And he sort of like patted me on the head and said, "Yeah, fair play." If you can crawl off the pitch, I'd be grateful. He said.
Yes, it's always amusing to see someone get one in the
Yeah.
in the Jacobs, or on the thigh was another popular one, wasn't it? The first touch would often be a heavily hit shot that would cannon off your
especially when you're a
Vaseline
kid sort
thigh
of thing.
after
And
the
it's,
first 30 seconds.
yeah, I mean, in primary school, we used to have these footballs that were kind of like, if you looked at them, they kind of like had almost like sort of sharp pimples on them, very small. But yeah, you got that kicked at you, hits you on the thigh, and you're 9 years old, and it's frosty and cold outside. That hurts, that stings, and it's sort of like, the older you got, you're sort of biting your lip a bit. I'm not gonna admit that hurt. I'm not gonna admit that hurt. So, yeah, and you can always hear the sort of ping of it as it hits you as well. There's a sort of those footballs used to ping. So yes,
don't make them like they used to. That's for sure.
That was my football career at St Thomas of Canterbury Primary School. So I think we had one kid who went on to play league football in that side. Played for Ipswich and Spit Millwall. A guy called Tony Kinsella, but I think he was the only one out of that lot that played professionally, as far as I'm aware, anyway. So, but
England v Wales. Let's just have quickly go back to those games. You know that England have won the last 6, and that's ranging from October 2004 to October 2020. And Wales have only scored 1 goal in all that time. So if Wales,
would that have been in the Euros a few years back?
It was in it was 2-1 victory for 2016.
2-1 when Sturridge got the last one, didn't he? Right at the very end.
It was 2-1 England win. Vardy scored the opener.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Well, Gareth Bale actually put Wales ahead, didn't he?
But from behind, yeah.
Vardy scored the equaliser 10 minutes in the second half, and as you say, Sturridge got one in the substitute. Sturridge scored in the dying seconds in that European Championship qualifier. So they've scored once against England since 1984. Not the greatest record. So I don't suppose we're expecting too many from them tonight. But anyway, we are back underway. Look, the game started.
Bale's off. Good notice
Bale's
that.
off.
Yeah.
Don't know why. Maybe they're resting him for the last 16. Who knows?
Yeah, well, if he's playing in the last 16, it'll be at least another 4 years. So he'll probably need a rest before then.
Is he one of those who's playing his last? I'm not quite sure how old he is, Gareth Bale, but he seems to have been around forever. You kind of get the feeling there's not too many more World Cups in him. Yeah.
Well, they've got to qualify for another one yet, but I don't think he'll be around for the next one. He's in his 30s, isn't he? But yeah, Bale's off. Sorry, I've got my tablet up and running properly yet, so I can't see who's replaced him. But you think that he's got to be injured, really, because they'd
Yeah,
leave him on,
it
wouldn't
must be
they?
an England
Yeah, and
an
Nigel.
injury thing, mustn't it?
Yeah, I have to say that'll be a foul there. Kiefer Moore's just gone in on Shaw there, but Johnson, right? Yeah, Johnson. Sorry. Yeah, it's just shoved Shaw in the back there, but Wales have pressed a lot more in the first couple of minutes of this half than they did in the sort of whole of the first 45. Starting to press high. I guess they realised that with a result happening in the other game, they've really got to start to try and make things happen. Plan A is to.
Well, the player they've brought on for Bale, Noam, is Brennan Johnson, who of course.
All right, that was him there. Yeah.
Plays at Forest now, so that would lend weight to your suggestion there. They're kind of going for it a bit more, removing a midfielder for a 4. But you would have to assume that is an injury-related change rather than anything that's tactical.
He's talismanic, isn't he? You'd leave him on as
of course, absolutely. I almost said he's what Messi is to Argentina, but I think that might be being a bit generous to Gareth Bale, regardless of how many good teams he's played for over the years. But anyway,
that stat I might have brought up on another one of these. As Foden goes on a run, and good run as well. Got caught at the end there, and
he's got a free kick.
He's got it did look like he'd been caught off the ball there, but let's have a look at this. We'll sit a bit more closely now, and he's gone between a couple of players, put it across him, and he's got a kick there, hasn't he? Yeah.
Well, he got a knee in the back of the thigh by the looks of it, first of all, and then
he got one from behind and one from the front. So
they made sure he wasn't going any further. I think it's
Welsh guy walked away shaking his head, and I'm thinking, well, which one did you think wasn't the foul? Good position. So we're talking what? About 24 yards out, I'd say, judging by the mow of the lawn there. And so again, there's a sort of committee of England players are all looking at it at the moment, and Shaw's looking probably the most interested. Rashford and Henderson stood over it, so it might be a little tap to one side. Shaw comes in to slightly change the angle.
There seems to be more players around the ball than there is actually in the box at the moment. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Henderson's just gone in. Is that Henderson? Can't see.
Oh, what a goal!
Oh,
good. Top right hand.
There you go.
Pick that out, son.
There you go.
That's your free kick. And I can't remember what
finish.
goodbye is, but I should have looked it up before. I think it's back to the land of my fathers for the plucky guys in red, as the papers like to portray them as. That's a hell of a free kick. It was still wait. I think the guys on the replay machine are still gobsmacked by it because they haven't shown it again yet. No, we want to watch it ourselves. Rashford goes down on his knees.
What's that all about?
Guessing that's some sort of prayer. Let's have a look at it now.
Here we go.
Bit closer to the keeper than I thought, but it was. I think he'd taken a step the wrong way. Yeah, half a step the wrong way, half a step, and he's never going to get that.
Yeah, it's a good shot. You see that he just takes a step to his right, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Gambles the wrong way.
Yeah, you're always fighting a losing battle when that happens. So I hope I'm not upsetting any Welsh people when I point out that realistically, Wales need now to score five goals in the rest of this half to have any prospect, I think. But England, I think now we've got this. It's going to be two. Two. Foden's in there.
Game over.
Yeah. I think that's 6 you need now, Wales. Yeah, I was going to say, and of course now when I say, yeah, of course you're going to say that, but I was going to say before kick-off of the second half that I think if we get the one, that will kind of be it. We'll probably get 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And so far, my unvoiced prediction is looking good. So, yeah. So,
Foden off the mark. That's his 3rd England goal, I think you'll find.
yeah.
I think they were saying before he's only scored 2, and that was in the same game. But it's
Yeah.
a lovely ball. I don't know who it is who puts that ball across. Look at that. It's come from their own goal kick again.
Yeah.
Is this Kane?
That's Kane plays it across. It's
Brilliant ball.
It's
Brilliant
the Jeffrey Boycott corridor of uncertainty. Good work out there. I'm not sure who actually put the challenge in, but came to Kane, and he's got that. That's perfect, that ball.
It's actually taken a slight deflection, isn't it, as it goes
Yeah.
across? I was thinking we might have put it a bit close to the
It's
keeper there.
between Metham and the keeper, and there's no more than 6 yards between them, and it's gone right between them. Neither of them can actually go for it, and Foden's there at the far post, and that's 2-0. And
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty much curtains for the Welsh now. And as you say, it could be a question of how many can England score now.
Yeah.
Rack up a few more, hopefully. What if Declan's? It'd be nice to see Declan Rice get on the
Declan
score
on the
sheet,
sheet,
wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be lovely. Be lovely.
But
What do we make that? That's about it's about 90 seconds between the 2 goals, I think.
it wasn't long,
Maybe a
was
few
it?
more.
Yeah, it was. But yeah, it wasn't long. So yeah, we can consign Wales, I think, to the plucky bin, plucky but going home bin. Not quite as bad as that Zaire team in '74, but
that's still one of my favourite video clips of all time from the World Cup. That infamous free
there's
kick.
an incredible backstory to that, actually. As in not an awful lot happening at the moment. Zaire, which had been, I think, Belgian Congo or just Congo before, had been ruled by a President Mobutu, one of those militaristic dictators that crop up from time to time. They reckon that between the coup that he got took power in and the one that got rid of him, something like 30 years later, he probably got away with something like $15 billion of embezzled money. And he got into football. And, he was bringing Zaire players back from abroad, threatening their families if they didn't come back, to play for Zaire so that he'd have a strong team. And actually won the African Cup of Nations that year. Oh, it's a good shot from the
That's unlucky.
left-hand side. I don't think that's our mate James, that is, yeah. Curling shot. Pickford wasn't sure, but it went wide. So yeah, Mobutu was lauding the team, and it was probably one of the earliest forms of sport washing. You know, they were his sort of ambassadors and all that. And first game they lost 2-0 to Scotland, which wasn't quite the embarrassment that would have been nowadays, perhaps. But and then things started to go wrong. Mobutu didn't go to Germany, but he'd sent all his mates and acolytes out there and hangers-on and dignitaries in inverted commas, all of whom were sort of tucking into the bonuses and the money that the Zaire team was supposed to be. Now Wales belated there going for it. Deflected shot, which Pickford did very well to turn in mid-air and turn around the post. Came off, might have flicked off Declan and Maguire. No, not Declan, just Maguire off slab head.
It's just Maguire's massive heed. That's what it is. It's just...
Wales have got what I think is their first corner of the evening. I'd be surprised if they had another, but it's go for it now, isn't it?
You know what? It's almost like they've kind of given up, and it's like, well, we've got nothing to lose now, isn't it? And
let's try and score a goal in this one.
Yeah.
There's an offside in there.
Good luck to them.
But so anyway, the Zaire team actually went on strike, and in the end, FIFA sort of put their hands in their pocket and gave them 3,000 Deutschmarks or something. It was about £1,000 each to play, and so they went out to play Yugoslavia, and they were quickly 3-0 down, and then one of the dignitaries got a message down to the manager saying, "Take off the goalkeeper. The backup goalkeeper's a mate of mine, and I want to see him play." So you had that one. The replacement goalkeeper was 5'4" tall. And predictably, Yugoslavia just ran riot and won 9-0. So Mobutu did his nut. And whilst he'd been giving the players cars and things like that a few weeks previously, he threatened them with all sorts of reprisals if they lost the Brazil game, by 4 goals or more. So I think Brazil were winning 3-0, got that free kick, and the time's running down. And so the guy wants to run the clock down even more. So that's why he came running out and kicked it as far as he could. Thought that'll take a few minutes off the clock. But it's quite a sad story. But the player's name who did that, and I don't think he's any relation to the lad we had, but his name was Ilunga. So we got substitutions here. We got Callum Wilson, Alexander Arnold, and Calvin Phillips are on for Declan, who's putting a shift. His job is done, getting all sorts of pats on the back. Harry Kane's off and Kyle Walker's off. So, yeah, job done. Have a rest, lad.
Yeah, put some of the fridge posting on.
We've got Davis is down having some treatment. Maybe a thigh problem.
Do we know what the situation is with James Maddison? Because I know he wasn't training until earlier this week, but you would have thought this is an ideal opportunity to bring him out and give him a run for the last half hour or so if he's available.
He's certainly now in the squad. We were one light on the bench for the first game, possibly the second as well, but he's certainly on the bench for this one. Just as they show the goals again, I mean, obviously Rashford, all credit for that beautiful free kick, but also for the second one, it was him putting pressure on the Welsh left back that got the ball released to Kane to put that wonderful ball across the 6-yard box. So good bit of work from Rashford there. So, we've got another substitution for Wales. That's Davis is coming off, I think. Yeah. And he's been replaced by Morel. So not sure if he's appeared in this World Cup, but I think it's possibly a case of, well, we're going home. Let's give some of the lads a bit of a run out so they can say they played in the World Cup. And a bit like Henderson, really.
Joe Morel.
We're on the way
player.
again. Sorry?
Portsmouth player.
Yeah. I mean, this is where you begin to see the difference in quality, if you like. We're bringing on players from the Premier League who, the upper echelons of the Premier League, whereas Wales are bringing on people who are in the Portsmouth side, and that's got to show in quality. The sort of heart, the national pride, the sort of whatever you want to call it, will only get you so far, I think, and it might get you the occasional win here and there that you'll dine out on for the rest of your lives, sort of thing. But they beat Belgium that time, but ultimately, you're going to come unstuck, I think, more often than not. And so that's not a dig at Portsmouth or anything, but they're not in the Premier League. And
that's the second time Portsmouth have actually come up today for me, because I did a piece. I don't know if you saw it, but I did a piece for KUMB earlier on the news page about Nigel Reo-Coker. Did you see that? It was. I
did have a quick read before I came on here.
Of course, you know the story. He was asked in a recent interview who were the best players he ever played alongside, and I don't think anyone would have banked upon him answering that with the words Hayden Mullins, but that's exactly what he did. And of course, Mullins left West Ham to go to Portsmouth, which is why it was relevant to what I was just saying. But
I'm glad, because I was kind of he finally got to play in a cup final, didn't he? Now Ramsey's just gone through. It's another studs on the ankle job.
Ooh, that's naughty.
Jumped him. That's going to be painful. Even Henderson's going to feel that. And yeah, so he's getting a bit of treatment there. But yeah, it's going to sting. So nothing much
I
happening.
mean, that's the sort of challenge that you see in the Premier League quite often.
Yeah.
Gets rewarded with a red card. I mean, it's dangerous. He's off the ground. His studs up. He's caught him in the ankle. It's naughty, very naughty. But yeah, Hayden Mullins. I mean, of course, I'm just kind of reminded that he missed out on the cup final because Luis Garcia, wasn't it?
Yeah, just
the Liverpool player who cheated, dived and
Clutching his
pretended to
face,
have been hit by Mullins, and of course Mullins missed out on featuring for West Ham. I wonder if it would have been a different result if Mullins played that. Who did we play instead of Mullins? Can you remember? I mean, was it Yossi who played? Yeah, but I think he would have been in front of Mullins, wouldn't he? Who else?
Yeah.
Oh, it was Fletcher, wasn't it?
Yeah, Fletcher.
Cole Fletcher played, didn't he, instead?
Yeah, that was his last game for us as well, wasn't it? Yeah. Tidy little player, Fletcher.
Yeah.
Thought he had a good game, actually, that day. But
yeah. Well, they all did that day, didn't we? It was
yeah. You'll recall I was not a fit man that day. I was very, very unwell. And my then beloved was driving me we were staying at her sister's place in Hay-on-Wye. She was driving me to Hereford Station to get the train at Cardiff. And I had a temperature. I picked up I've been to South Africa, and I picked up a bug, and which stayed with me for a few months afterwards. And I lost a couple of stone, and which I needed to. But I had a temperature, and I was shaking, and she dropped me for the station. As I got to get out of the car, she said, "Yeah, really, should you be going to this? It is on the books." And I must have given her such an old-fashioned look. So, I'm in the programme if you've still got a copy of that.
I've still got a few of those. I was going to give them away in a competition, but it never happened. So I think I've got 3 or 4, and the semi-final one as well.
I've still got 2 or 3. So I was in the Middlesbrough, the semi-final programme as well. I'd written something, and I got that. One of the spare copies of that I've got actually cut out, my article framed, along with the ticket and the check that I got for writing the article. And I was going to do something similar, but I've never been able to bring myself to do it for that cup final. So it's still in the. I got several copies of the programme. About they paid me quite well for the article anyway, and I got. I think I asked for 10 copies of the programme, which was no small amount, because I think they were £8-9 a time. Can't remember how much they were now, but
yeah, they weren't cheap, were they?
Yeah. So and of course our good friend Ian Maltese Hammer said, "Can you get me one?" Of course, I said, yeah. I said, I'm getting a load for free, so I'll post on one of those to you. And bless him, he wanted me to sign it. And I said, well, it's worth a tenner, I said, but as soon as I put some ink on it, it's worth threepence. He said, no, please sign it. One of the few times I've been genuinely asked my autograph. So,
well, we're halfway through the second half now. It's a bit of a stroll in the park, really, for England, this one, but it'd be nice to bang in a couple more. See maybe Callum Wilson get on the score sheet. Can't obviously Declan can't anymore, but well, it's comfortable, isn't it? It's too comfortable for England. They've not really been put under any pressure. I mean, Alexander Arnold. I know he's not one of your favourite players, is he?
No,
defensively, anyway, at least. Possibly
one of the most overrated. I mean, you go to Liverpool, he's the best fullback in the world. And I'm thinking, God, I hope I don't see the second best then. He's got a good shot on him, take a wonderful free kick. I'll grant you all that. But his basic day job is not. I mean, remember before the Euros, and there'd been some debate as to whether or not he'd get picked. And we had the last friendly. I can't remember who we were playing in it, but and he stunk the place out. He couldn't control the ball. Every pass went astray. People getting past him for fun. And then he got quite a serious injury, which kind of saved Southgate the bother of having to drop him because, you know, I think he was teetering on the edge of not being picked anyway, and that just kind of confirmed it. He had an awful game, and he's, you know, but there's this thing: if he plays for Liverpool, he must be good. Well, I think the fact that he's only on now, the game's safe, we're 2-0 up, and to give better players a rest, I think probably shows that Southgate probably agrees with me to a large degree on that one.
Yeah, it was that game against us, wasn't it, at the in Stratford, where was it the 3-2 where we tore him apart? Was it Antonio?
Yeah.
I can't remember now, but had a terrible game.
Yeah.
And was exposed for his defensive weaknesses were exposed that day, and he's done it a few times, hasn't he? Certainly, I mean, I think you made a good call there. Going forward, he's an excellent player. He's, you know, as a wing back, he's got the sort of strengths you need in the modern game. He's quick, he's got a decent shot, can support the attack, but yeah, defensively very much.
Rashford goes at the area on the right hand side, cuts back in. Oh yes, that's
dear.
That's gone straight through Ward. I rather suspect that from the look on his face that when we see that again in slow motion, it's going to look a bit embarrassing. There was a lot of pace in the shot. It was a lovely ball down the line to Rashford. He did marvellously well, cut inside, did everything to set the shot up. But I got a feeling that when we look at that again, we're going to have a very red-faced Welshman. So he's played this ball down the line. He's onside, definitely miles onside. And he's got the ball there. He cuts into the box. Has that gone through his legs?
Through his legs.
Yeah.
Right through his legs.
It's gone through two sets of legs. Just threaded it through two.
You don't see that often.
Double nutmeg.
Double nuts. Nuts and nuts.
Oh, it's actually it's gone in off the back of Ward's heel there. So
he's having the night of his life, isn't he? Young Rashford here, 2 goals and an assist. Well,
yeah,
not an assist, but was certainly involved in the second goal. But
direct assist.
Yeah, great night.
Assist. So Wales, you've got to get 7 now.
I wonder what odds you'd get on that right now.
I think they'd be clambering all over to take your money off you, wouldn't they?
Well,
I think you could probably name your own odds. I don't think Wales have really been in England's half more than 7 times all match, really. Probably slight exaggeration or diminution there for effect, but not much more. Just
elsewhere,
yeah.
The USA is still winning 1-0.
Still 1-0 as far as I can see. Yeah.
Still hanging on to that 1-goal advantage. If it's a draw, the USA are through. Is that correct? No, it's not, is it? No, it won't be because it's Iran, isn't it? So if Iran equalise, they go through. So it might. I might even switch over and watch that game for the last 15 minutes just to see what's going on, because I suspect pretty much like the early one versus Senegal and Ecuador, that would be the more interesting of the two ties.
If it's a draw, that would leave Iran on 4 points, or USA on 3. So yeah, Iran would go through. Yeah. So I've done that. Oh, I've lost my picture. The reason I've lost my picture is I just put the tablet down on the remote control and switched it off. So there we go. Back on. So nothing's happened in those 20 seconds anyway. So
in other news,
in other news,
West Ham. There was some West Ham did play today, actually. It was the under-18s, but
they beat Chelsea.
They beat Chelsea 4-2.
Yeah.
which means that the kids have now won 9 games out of 9 in the league so far, which is incredibly
England on the
impressive.
attack again here now.
Yeah.
Rashford's in the box, tries to
Why?
do more at
That's
the near
greedy.
post, but he just got a foot out in time. There was an inviting gap down there. I will say that.
Yeah.
And it took a decent sort of save with his feet from Ward, but
If I was Callum Wilson in the middle or Phil Foden, I think I'd be a little bit annoyed at that one. But I mean, I
Yeah.
suppose when you're on a hat trick in the World
yeah,
Cup,
you're on a hat trick.
not many
you're
England
3-0
players
up.
have done that before, have they?
Mm.
Lineker and a chap called Hurst, I believe. The only 2 England players to score a hat trick in the World Cup. Would that be correct?
I can't remember anymore. Yeah, Lineker, what would have been 86? Yeah,
86 against Poland. Yeah.
Poland. Yeah, which was a game we went into was a must win, and we went 3-0 up fairly quickly, didn't we?
There's that lovely BBC commentary where I think John Motson's commentating, and you can hear Jimmy Hill going "ho ho ho" in the in the background as he gets his third goal. Poor old Jim. But anyway, 3-0 again tonight.
Yeah, Jimmy Hill gave me some very invaluable coaching tips when I was a kid once, and something that because when someone like that talks to you and tells you to do something, even as a sort of 8-9-year-old, you kind of listen, don't you? And it was in the director's tea room at the bowling ground, and the aforementioned guy I was talking about, Alec Maguire, who got us in there after we'd beaten Tottenham 2-0, and Jimmy Hill and Brian Moore were in there, and Alex said, "Look, it's Jimmy Hill, go and get his autograph in your programme." So I went up and, "Can I have my autograph, please, Mr. Hill?" And he said, "Yes, Sonny." So, "What's your name?" "Gordon." "Gordon, do you play football at all?" And I said, "Yeah, I play for I play for a club, and next year I'm going to be playing for the school." And and he said, "Right, are you right-footed or left-footed?" So I said, "Well, I kick my right." He said, "Right, this is what I want you to do." And he says, "When you go out and you're kicking a ball, I want you to spend as much time as possible kicking a ball against the wall with your left foot only your left foot," he said. "And I want to hear you banging in goals with your left foot." And it's something I did, and I got to the stage where, if we'd been given a penalty and they said, "But you got to take it with your left foot," I could have quite happily done it. And every time I scored one with left foot, I always thought of Jimmy Hill, bless him. So top man. Probably responsible for a quarter of my goals.
Yeah, good advice to any kid. Right?
Yeah.
And even today, it's amazing how many players in the at the top level are not comfortable using both feet. It always astonishes me that.
I mean, I'd still say, obviously I'm clearly right-footed, but if I've got the ball, you see so many of them now. They get to a position where you think, "Well, cross it," and they cut it back onto the other foot, and the momentum goes. Mark Noble, bless him, was prime example of that. Whereas I used to go, if I was down on the left-hand side and somebody in the middle, I'd quite happily cross it with my left. And not totally two-footed, but Rashford's seen the last of the game.
No hat trick.
No hat trick. So being saved for bigger fish, I think. And we've got Grealish coming on. So shall we have a sweepstake on? It's 75 minutes and 6 seconds gone. How long before he first gets fouled?
I'll give it about 12 seconds.
If you see someone running on the pitch and kicking him on 11 seconds, that'll be the editor at KUMB.com to win a bet. So
our goal scorers. Quickly going back to the under-18s, the goal scorers today: Callum Marshall, Caden Casey, and a brace from Gideon Kadua. So I would imagine we'll have the highlights of that for you on KUMB.com very shortly. If I can find them after the game, we'll get those on the site for you on the homepage. So keep a lookout if you need an urgent fix of claret and blue, because as we said, the kids are still playing at the moment. And we have a friendly next week, don't we? Cambridge, is it?
Cambridge in a testimonial. And we got Fulham at some stage. Or did
fourth,
I make that up in my brain?
No, we are playing Fulham. That's a couple of weeks or so later. I'll tell you the
Yeah.
dates in just a moment. I think it's the 4th or 5th of Cambridge game.
Yeah.
And then Fulham. I don't think we booked any more friendlies to this point, have we? It's just those two. I was expecting one or two more to be added, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen right now. Let's have a look. What have we got? Who have we got?
Wales give the ball away very cheaply again. England the through here. Can we get it? It's good save from Ward, but
Go on, get up. Oh, it must be. Oh.
It's a goal kick. Foden's
Great clearance.
Foden's looking a little bit perplexed. Was that Wilson putting it? Yeah.
I think it's Bellingham with the
Bellingham
shot.
Rather. Bellingham shot took a slight deflection. Ward got down well to save it. Second ball came in. It was slightly behind Foden. The ball got kind of kicked onto him, and he's just put it out for a goal kick. Good save from Ward, but bit too little, too late, really. I mean,
yes, it was a bit. Cambridge is the 6th of December. Cambridge away on December the 6th, which is what's December the 6th? What's the 6th of December? It's Tuesday, next Tuesday.
Tuesday evening.
Week today. And the Fulham game. Yeah, the Fulham game's 11 days later.
Yeah.
On the 17th, which is of course a Saturday, and then that's a week before we play Arsenal, or 10 days
Boxing
before we
Day
play
Arsenal.
Boxing Day. Yep.
And then we play Brentford twice in quick succession, don't we?
Well, yeah. I mean, of course, we should talk about that. Really, the FA Cup draw, bit of a disappointing one, really. Not the first time we've drawn a Premier League team away in the cup in recent years, but well, what do you make of that?
It is what it is. I quite like to see us put out a very strong side. Yeah, a first choice. I mean, assuming everyone's fit and available after the World Cup. For that, don't know if Brentford have got that same sort of mentality about resting players and things like that. I'd have thought they'd put out a strong side, given that it's sort of something to aim for, isn't it? The FA Cup for them as well as us. So see how it goes when we play them because we've got them at the Olympic on the Friday night, haven't we? Before. I think Friday's. Oh, I can't remember. Friday's the 30th, isn't it? It's the day before New Year's Eve.
Right.
Which sort of suits me a lot, actually, for various reasons. And
it's a 7:45 kickoff, that one.
Yeah. So that's all right. We've got another injury now. It's Joe Allen's holding his thigh a little bit there. So. I'm going to say it's probably might well signal the end of his World Cup, but even if he stays on, he's only got 10 minutes left of it anyway. So we got Brentford. So we got Arsenal, Brentford. Then it's Leeds. I think it's on the 4th of January.
Yeah,
4th of January. It's that midweek anyway. And then the weekend then is the Cup, which I think we've got to be announced on that one because that could happen any time between Friday and the Monday, I think.
7th to the 9th, isn't it? I think, or something like that.
Yeah. So
the Cup weekend.
I haven't seen any announcements as to the as to what games have been picked for telly. You think Man City Chelsea is one of them, isn't it?
There were 5 all Premier League ties, weren't there? You've also got Liverpool and Wolves. Who else have you got? Yeah, you've got Man City, Chelsea, Man United and Everton. There's one more. Palace and Southampton. That was the other one.
Southampton. Oh, well.
Who, of course, did for us last year. Glenn Marshall's just pointed out, quite rightly, on the live chat that same as last year. We played Leeds, didn't we? In the Cup and the League in successive games.
Yeah.
We beat them comfortably, didn't we, in the League? In the Cup, wasn't it 2-0 and the 3-2? Was it 3-2?
Yeah, messed up in the League.
That lad scored the hat-trick, didn't he?
Yeah.
That's at our place.
And it happens more often than you think. Because we've had this season.
Go on, Greenish.
Greenish is worked into the box. It's right now, but it's cleared. Yeah, this season we just had a couple of weeks ago. We had Everton and Bournemouth, didn't we? In the League Cup and in the league in rapid succession. I think the best one was, I think, sometime in the 90s. I might have brought this up before, where Tottenham and Wimbledon played themselves 5 times in a row because it was. I think they both got to the League Cup semi-final. So there was the League Cup semi-final first leg. Then there was a league match. Then there was the League Cup semi-final second leg. Then there was a cup match, and then there was a cup replay. The FA Cup match and the FA Cup replay. So yeah. Now Maguire has given away a free kick, protesting his innocence, but he's got hold of the guy's shirt, and Maguire's sort of like saying, "What, ref? You know, he fouled me." No, he didn't. It's the straight answer to that. So Wales now, I think they'll go ballistic if they can actually score a goal. We're talking about 25 yards out, maybe slightly more at the angle. Just waiting for the referee to do the stuff with his sprays. And so what we're going to get here then? So yeah, slightly right of centre from the Welsh perspective.
27, 28 yards, a long way out.
Yeah,
straight into
the wall. So that was Wilson, who came on a few minutes ago. Sorry, I was going to say something. It just came to me because of the Welsh Wilson. They've got Callum Wilson. You mentioned Callum Marshall from the kids being on the score sheet today against Chelsea. He's just signed, I think, this very week. He's signed professional forms for us. So yeah. Good luck to him.
Got lots of exciting youngsters coming through. I mean, we saw a few of them, didn't we, in the chance there in the Conference League. Young Skulls and one or two others.
Yeah.
That looked Ollie Skulls. So yeah, the future's bright, as they say. Just be nice to see one or two of them break through in years to come, because we haven't had too many lately.
Act, isn't it? It's always a balancing act. I mean, we're not in the greatest position in the league at the moment, and you quite understand sort of more. Yeah, you don't want to throw the kids in en masse deep end. That horrible game at Forest a few years back, where Allardyce hung loads and loads of kids out to dry, basically just to prove a point with the owners, and that probably ruined quite a number of careers. Really, that didn't. I don't think I ever forgave him for that. But having said that, I mean, when we played the youngsters at the end of the Conference League there, when it was all well and done, they acquitted themselves very well. Grealish has just been fouled there again. I meant to mention he's been taken out off the ball without a foul being given a couple of times.
Right, we've got just over 5 minutes to go in the England game, so I'm going to switch over to the other side. You keep an eye on England and Wales, and I'm going to keep an eye on the USA game, because it's still 1-0 to the Americans. Iran still trading, knowing that if they score, they will go through. So it's a tense one, a second tense one. Like we had one earlier between Ecuador and Senegal, where the Ecuadorians just couldn't get that equalising goal that would have seen them over the line. And at the moment, it's looking pretty similar for Iran. So I shall keep you updated, and likewise, let me know what's going on.
Okay.
Still 11-11, no sending offs or anything like that.
Yeah. They've just put the group standings up, and as I say, so as you rightly say, it's England 7 points, USA 5, Iran 3, and Wales with just the 1 point, which Wales are kind of the Eurovision Song Contest entry in this group, I think. Well, Wales are sort of chipping away now, and they've got the ball in the box. And 13 is Moore, isn't it? Who's trying to work the trying to work an angle, try to curl one at the top right hand corner, and yeah, it's Moore basically curls it into the top right hand corner of the stand. And
you're a little bit ahead of us because over on in this the Iran USA game, they've only just played 84 minutes, so a couple of minutes ahead. But it's all Iran at the moment. They're they've got the Americans camped in their own half, as you would expect, with so much at stake at this particular junction. But 6 minutes to go. Yeah, Iran, as I say, in complete control. I just saw a stat that said in this one, Iran have produced 252 passes in this game so far, which is much more than they produced against Wales, 197. And also England, when they only produced 142 passes, which seems incredibly low for a match. But USA have actually not had a shot on target in the second half. Only Australia have managed fewer in the second half in the entire tournament so far. I mean, but they still lead.
Difficult to tell from just the headlines we saw at half time because they just showed a couple of chances, but they didn't show anything being created by Iran at all, which suggested that the US had much the better of the. Sorry, I'm laughing. Grealish fouled again.
Was that the first half?
Yeah, first half. The Americans.
Yeah.
The highlights they showed were all America.
Well, that's presumably why Iran's XG was 0.00.
Yeah, of course.
Because they didn't have a single shot in the first half. But I'm not sure how much better they've fared this half, but they've certainly had a couple. Let's have a look. Stats. Iran 2 shots. They haven't had one on target yet. 2 shots in the entire match so far. So they're not exactly putting the Americans under a great deal of pressure, even though they've got the ball in their camps in the Americans' half. But anyway, still 1-0 to the Americans here.
We just had one of those really unintelligent fouls from a footballer. Stones had passed the ball back to Pickford, and Keegan Wood just ran up and pushed him in the back, knocked him over, rather than going to charge Pickford down and see anything come of it. England, from being a little bit under pressure, then it's a free kick to England, and you do wonder, what goes through a player's mind when they do something that dumb. But yeah, I think we're just playing this one out now. And
Iran have I can see why Iran have only enjoyed 2 shots at goal in this entire game. So they've just picked the ball up 35 yards from goal. Really promising position. Players got several options ahead of him, and he's just dinked one straight into the goalkeeper's arms from 35 yards. It wasn't even a shot; it was a pass. But I get the feeling the USA might be following England into the last 16.
Yeah, well, it won't surprise you to know that we've just got a free kick for a foul on Grealish. And
how many minutes was that? I mean, it's certainly.
There's been. I mean, he got kicked off the ball without a foul being given, sort of fairly quickly after he came on, a matter of seconds, and we've had about 3 in the last 2 or 3 minutes. So every time he's got on the ball. It is monotonous regularity, I think. So, but
now England cross comes in from the right. No one there, headed out, and it's a throw-in.
What we got here? Wilson's got into the box. He's played it back. Sort of hopeful ball played in by Alexander-Arnold. England got it back. Only 4 minutes stoppage to come in this one. As Foden plays it off at Welshman, doesn't quite go for the corner, but England will get the throw. Got the impression that if England really wanted to and want to put some effort, they could get another one. But it's just let's see this out.
We are still. The game, the Iranians still camped in the American half over here. Well, we're in the 89th minute. There's still 2 minutes of normal time left to go. They've got to throw in. It's actually a corner. It's gone out for a corner. So let's have a look. Let's see if they can do something with this corner. There's plenty of Iranian fans in the stadium going mad and getting behind the team. But here's the corner. Can they do anything with it? And no.
Well, we nearly had a fourth here. not sure if Ward got a touch on that or not. I don't think. I think it's been given as a goal kick. It had gone out for a corner. I thought the Welsh player had saved it. Corner came across, headed back across goals, and Stones was unmarked in the 6-yard box, leant back and put it over. Looked like Ward might have got a touch on it, but not given as such. So that has to go down as a miss. And as Wilson gets absolutely flattened. Jumps for the ball and just gets flattened. The Welsh lads come off worse with that. But he's just gone barging at the back of Wilson, who's gone to the floor. But he looks a bit in trouble, the Welsh lad. He's got to the back of Wilson. I think Wilson, as his arms gone back, may have caught him. He was clutching his nose, the Welsh lad. But we got 2 minutes more stoppage time here anyway. Free kicks played at the box, and no, the ref wasn't ready for it. So that'll have to be taken again.
We're just going into added on time. I'm not sure how long we've got in this one. We're just coming to 90 minutes. We've not seen a signal yet to show how many extra minutes we've got. We've gone on to the red in the screen, which means 90 minutes is up, but they're still not indicated how many minutes are added on. But Iran, they're not going to score. I can tell you that now. They're not even getting close. There we go. 9 minutes, a whole 9 minutes added on. So there you go. Plenty of time to go. But as I say, they don't look like doing anything at all at the moment, the Iranians.
Well, over here, it's England have got still looking like they might fancy one final attack on here. We're in the last minute now. There's Foden's on a run, gets caught, but he's still got the ball. Oh, it's Grealish rather. Ball's been well, it's like schoolboy football in the box, where there are about 8 or 9 players all around the balls, all trying to kick it, trying to work it through, and it's finally clear for a throw in. We're in the last 20 seconds here. Rodon was on the floor there in amongst all that scrambling, but throw it to England, and I think whatever happens after this, when it gets cleared, that'll be it.
Well, over here, we've just seen that the first decent ball come in from Iran, a decent delivery from the left. Keeper's come out to claim it, and he's actually punched it out, taking it off the head of one of his defenders. First sign of maybe of a bit of panic in the American defence there. And now we've got the Iranians, Karimi, urging the referee to give him a free kick for a supposed foul on the edge of the box. Referee says no. Play continues, but they're going to get this one. And Iran have a free kick. It's just inside the left touchline, parallel with the edge of the box. So this one will be swung into the box, and no doubt they'll be sending numbers forward to try and get this goal.
Well, it's all over here, and 3-0, comfortable win for England in the end. Just first half bided their time a bit, and second half really the quality. The English team kind of shone through a little bit, and brace from Rashford, and Foden got the other one. So as it stands, England will be playing. Well, I'll say as it stands.
No, ignore me. No, we just saw that free kick I was talking about, and it's delivered low to the near post, or in line with the near post. It's a diving header. I met with diving header, and it's not too far wide, but wide it is. So America remain one ahead, and I don't imagine Iran will get any chances quite as good as that between now and the remaining. What have we got there? 6 minutes, 93 minutes they've played, 9 added on, so another 6 to go, and it's all quite exciting. But of course, England through. That's the good news of the night.
That's the good news. Yeah, I think it having Foden in the side definitely helped, because particularly in the second half, having someone that if you've got a team where you're getting 11 men behind the ball, if you've got somebody who can run at them, and Foden palpably can, you're looking at someone who could change the game, and you know, it just looks so much better. There's just so much more attacking intent with Foden in the side.
Yeah.
So Wales, well, it probably had too many options, didn't they? I mean, it was, if we go all out for the 4 goals, are we going to get taken apart? And I think, particularly in the first half, it was, let's just see how it goes. And results are going for us elsewhere. Nicking a goal may be good enough, but that was always a major gamble, to try and do that. And it's that was never going to be a good tactic, I think. I mean,
to be fair, it was a difficult, it was a tough call, whichever way they went at it tonight, wasn't it? There was always relying on results elsewhere, and I think they blew it in that that game against the Americans, didn't they? That was and what was it, 97th minute or something, wasn't it? The Americans, the Iranians scored.
Game, they scored twice in stoppage, didn't they?
Deep into stop time, and that's where they lost it. Really, would have made a huge difference, I guess. If they probably could have got away with a draw, maybe if. Oh,
why it disappeared there? So. I mean, I mean, in a way, and I'm trying hard not to sound very patronising here, but it's a good, given the size of the country and all that, it's a good. It's good to actually get her in the first place. Now, for all the jokes about them being England's B team, given the perhaps the paucity of pure-born Welshmen in the side, that's a debate for another time. But population of Wales is is not very much, just put it that way, and so for someone without a major professional league of their own, really. I know they have a professional league, but the standard of that is not great. Let's be honest. It's an achievement to get there, and I think they kind of may have been a bit spoilt by their performance in that Euros, where they got out of the group and semi-final they got to, I think, wasn't it?
They did. Interesting. You're saying that about it's the FAW, isn't it? I think the domestic division. I'm just trying to think of any other leagues, especially in Europe, where teams do not play in their own league. Luxembourg, I think, have got a few teams maybe that play. Got their own
league. Liechtenstein, the one proper. There are a few teams in Liechtenstein who play the Swiss league. The main one. I don't think they've got their own league in Liechtenstein, and they have cup competition. But their qualification at European matches is through the cup competition.
San Marino. What about San Marino?
Their team play in the sort of lower reaches of the Italian league. Okay, if you want to be really pedantic, of course, Monaco play in France.
Yes, and of course, well, there's an English team, is there not? That plays in the Scottish League. Berwick Rangers.
Yeah. Funnily enough, no, I'm sure it's Doncaster. A team in Doncaster or Darlington. Not the main league team that we know and love, but another team have put in an application to play in the Scottish Cup. The reason being that during one of the more
is it? Oh no, he's not. Sorry.
That's all right.
That was so close. They nearly scored it round. Sorry.
During one of the more aggressive forays south of the border from our friends north of the border, I think they took, Doncaster or hang on a second, mate. I'm going to have to pause you for it, mate. I'll get back to you.
No worries. Just going back to that chance, it was a long ball headed on by one of the Iranian players, and I think it might be a penalty. I'm not convinced he wasn't pulled down.
Hang on a second. One minute.
So we're in the last 30 seconds anyway. The Iranian player's gone down. He's claiming he was
Yeah, Jeff.
pulled. I'm not quite sure why he
Yeah.
would have gone down
Say
there if he
hello to
wasn't
everybody
pulled.
on the thing. Say hello to Graham.
Hey,
Let's. Who's that?
Jeff. Jeff.
Hello, Jeff. How you doing, mate? Good
am
to
I
hear
all
you. Yeah, I'm very good. I'm just waiting to see what's happening in this Iran game because it looks like we've got. We might have a VAR. No, it's not a penalty.
That was Graham because I'm on the. Yeah. So I'm on the YouTube at the moment. So put Mum on. I'll call you back in a bit.
Right, we might. No, the referee said play on. I mean, the Iranian player went down claiming a penalty.
Hey,
I
I'll
mean,
call you
I
back
think
in 5
he'd be
minutes.
better off
'cause I'm
staying
still
up,
over there.
trying to win the
Okay.
ball there.
I'll call you back in 5
Actually,
minutes. Bye.
but
Yeah.
it's a wasted opportunity. And we're now in the 10th added on minute, and America breaking forward. Could be a second goal here. Oh, it's a poor shot straight the goal. But I think Iran have done themselves there. That was a. If the lad had stayed up and tried to get his head on that ball, I think he might have been able to get something on it. But instead, he feigned a foul, and the referee rightly was having none of it. And I think the Iranians might have shot themselves in the foot there by not making the most of it. But the game's still going on. We're now into the. And there's another dive in the box. And I think the referee's going to actually book him this time. No, that's it. That's full time.
Yeah,
That's it. 9 minutes, just under 10 minutes added on. And the Americans are through. As runners up to England. They've beaten Iran 1-0. The Iranians never really looked in it from what I saw. Bit of a flurry at the end, threw a few long balls into the box, but came to nothing. So the Americans will face the Netherlands. No, in the last 16.
Yeah.
Got to fancy the Dutch for that one, haven't you, really?
You'd have thought so. I mean, they've been a bit like us, the Dutch. They've won. Well, I say that. I mean, when we've won, we've looked more impressive than the Dutch have when they've won. Let's put it that way. Now you're in the sort of business end of things where it's knockout. You kind of got to fancy the Dutch, but I'd have thought so. Yeah. So Me and Mum says hello as well.
Oh, hello, Mum.
I said
Hope you well. Hope you well. What do you make of England Senegal? Not the easiest tie for the last 16.
You know, they're no slouches. I mean, once you got out of the group stage, anyone you come across is going to be difficult. And actually, to a certain degree, I might have fancied perhaps in a way the Dutch a bit more because, from my perspective anyway, they're more of a known quantity. Obviously, Southgate will have done his homework and will know a bit more about them. But well, bring it on though. As I say, anything happen, knockout football, bring it on.
Yes, indeed, and that's Saturday. We think that tie.
Saturday, 3:00, I believe, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I haven't looked at it. I thought I heard somebody say that earlier on. So,
okay, all right.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to leave it there anyway. We will, of course, be back with you for that England versus Senegal. Tough tie. Could go either way. No, not sure. I fancy that at all. Got some big, strong lads in that Senegalese side, but just seeing confirmation again of the group. England winning 7 points from 3 games. Decent result. 2 wins and a draw from their 3 group games. And as we've just discovered, there's a picture of Kansas City, and they're all going mad. The beer's going up in the air and all sorts. Wasted a good drink, I always think, but there you go. It's obviously one of those things they do these days. But anyway, England versus Senegal. We'll be back on Saturday for that one with you. Thank you to everyone who joined us on the stream tonight. My thanks also to my he's over there. I'm pointing the wrong way. To my co-host Noam. Thank you for your company, mate. Pleasure as always. I guess we'll be back on Saturday.
Yeah, I'll try and get on for that. I'm
okay.
Probably going to be down in Hampshire at the folks. So if I am on, you'll have Jeff with me in person.
Happy days. Be good to see him as
probably
always.
Be more insightful than me. So
no comment.
Anyway, I'm trying to finish off the thing about Doncaster. When the Scots invaded years ago, I think Doncaster think that some treaty wasn't signed and they're still part of Scotland. So that team in Doncaster have applied to play in the Scottish Cup. Last I heard, it was being considered, but probably not very seriously. So there you go.
Well, that's your homework for this week. You've got to find out who that team is and let us know on Saturday.
Yeah.
All right,
And I'd
mate.
just like to point out
Thanks.
as well that this is a hat trick for me. I've now managed to go through 3 complete streams without falling over. So, yeah.
He feels good. Da, 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 da. Bit of an in joke there, but
yeah.
Anyway, good to see you on your feet. We were obviously very concerned for your welfare that night, but we've had a few chuckles about it, have we not, in our little mods chats? But good to see no long-lasting effects. Anyway, that's it from us tonight. Thank you, as I said, to all of you for joining us. We're on over to the KUMB.com World Cup forum. Get on over there, talk about the games, and to discuss England's passage through to the last 16. We will, as we said, be back with you on Saturday. Until then, my friends, take care. And as always, come on, you irons.
Cheers, all.